Governance at the ministerial level can be determined by the level of transparency, responsiveness, effectiveness, efficiency, and accountability on the part of the federal ministers within the ministries under their purview. The opportunity to appreciate the realities, to make informed assessment of their performance is only on the minister's platform. Thanks for keeping a date with us. We'll be right back. You can only stay informed about current developments across the federal ministries, agencies, and parastatals on Ministry News. Welcome on board. The federal government Wednesday said its efforts to ensure steady power supply nationwide are being frustrated by terrorists who are vandalizing critical power infrastructure in hard-to-reach areas, especially in the northeast. The Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliyu, will disclose this to State House correspondents in Abuja at a press briefing after the FEC meeting, lamented that the damages have hindered the transmission company of Nigeria from extending power to the affected areas. Aliyu, however, noted that his ministry is working closely with security agencies to assess such areas and begin new power projects.
Good news now is that they have just invited us for the factory test of the power transformers, which around July will go to Turan, Italy. That is not all. This is just for the quick win, phase one of the delivery of the intervention. The first one is to get the quick win. So as soon as we get these 10 transformers, we have been working and I have identified where we are going to install them across the country so that they give us the initial boost that we have been seeking for.
The federal government has granted 694 of the 12,387 applications for the first phase of the National Housing Program. Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, represented by the Osun Housing Controller in the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing during the week when he handed over keys to beneficiaries in Osun State. The minister said the handing over of keys to beneficiaries held simultaneously across the country.
We have therefore offered all these housing units to members of the general public in a non-discriminatory way by opening the portal to ensure that those interested are not inhibited by any artificial obstacles, and allocation will be made on the basis of those who apply and pay on a first-come, first-served basis.
The Federal Executive Council has approved an enterprise licensing agreement for Microsoft products and the clearing up of C-band spectrum in order to accelerate the deployment of 5G services in the country. This took place during the meeting of the Council on the 29th of May 2022, following the presentations of 3 memos by the Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami. The government-wide enterprise licensing agreement for Microsoft products is a software acquisition cost reduction strategy for government, and it will be implemented by the National Information Technology Development Agency (NITDA) under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. The agreement is part of the federal government efforts towards keeping the cost of IT projects within sustainable levels, give government access to discounted prices and other cost benefits, as well as reduce project duplication across federal public institutions, amongst other strategic benefits. The Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, had a meeting with Rwanda's Minister for ICT and Innovation, Her Excellency Paola in Gabire on the sidelines of the recent Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, which took place in Kigali, Rwanda. Both ministers at the meeting discussed the implementation of their similar mandates and commended each other on the strides they have made in the development of the digital economy in both countries. They also explored areas of partnership between Nigeria and Rwanda, and they identified areas such as developmental regulation, policy formulation, digital identity, and cybersecurity, among other issues. As two of the leading digital economies in Africa, both ministers also discussed ways of strengthening partnerships across Africa in order to achieve a vibrant digital economy across the African continent. The Director of Information and Communication Technology (ICT), Federal Ministry of Education, Mr. Abubakar Issa, has said efforts are in top gear for the implementation of a digital literacy policy framework for digital literacy, having provided a learning website for the entire country that had over 15,000 videos. He disclosed this in Abuja on Tuesday at a two-day workshop on policy initiatives for digital learning in Nigerian universities, being attended by 19 vice-chancellors and 13 directors of Africa Centers of Excellence from different locations in the country. The workshop is organized by the Regional Training and Research Institute for Distance and Open Learning, RETRIDO, NOUN, in collaboration with the Commonwealth of Learning in Vancouver, Canada, and the African Center of Excellence on Technology Enhanced Learning, ACETEL. The federal government has expressed commitment towards the development of technical and vocational education and training, saying this remains the only way out of the current high level of unemployment in the country. The Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, made this known in Abuja Thursday while monitoring the 2022 NAPTEP examinations in Federal Government College, Orozo, and Government Technical College, Gariki, Abuja. At least 88,000 candidates are sitting for the ongoing 2022 National Business and Technical Examinations Board (NAPTEP) certificate examination nationwide. The federal government has flagged off the second phase of Operation Free the Porth Corridor, aimed at removing all illegal checkpoints and shanties along the Tinkan Port Corridor. Speaking in Lagos on Friday, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Transportation, Magdalene Ajani, who flagged off the operations at an event organized by Nigerian Shippers Council, said the second phase will clear checkpoints and shanties along Apapa, Tinkan Island, Coconut, Bega Yard, Mile 2, Orile, and Ijora Sifax. Ajani, who was represented by the Ministry's Deputy Director, Adams Ofie, said the operation will be undertaken by the Presidential Standing Task Team and will eliminate traffic gridlock and corrupt practices that hinders ease of doing business in Nigerian ports. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has met with stakeholders on the implementation of the Social Investment Program (NSIP) in states across the Federation. Speaking during the meeting held Tuesday in Abuja, the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Nasiru Sani Gwazo, represented by the Director, Special Needs, Mrs. Nkechi Onwukwe, said that the needs of the people by ensuring adequate rehabilitation, social inclusion to propagate human dignity is paramount at all times. The NSIP is the biggest social protection and poverty eradication program ever put in place by any government in Nigeria to address immediate and long-term socio-economic imbalances and irregularities in the country.
The program has been carefully designed to address specific social economic challenges and protect Nigerians from poverty, economic shocks, and social exclusion by increasing the income and livelihood of the poor and vulnerable households.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ehanire, said the Guild of Medical Directors must be involved in the health reforms in the country. Dr. Ehanire, who advocated this in a communique during the inaugural Leadership and Business Summit of the Guild held in Abuja, noted that there is need for a permanent and continuous communication link between the Federal Ministry of Health and the Guild as key stakeholders in healthcare delivery in Nigeria. The minister further added that the federal government should strongly review the issue of actively leasing out some of its facilities to be managed by the private sector in a public-private partnership arrangement. The federal government has announced a new cigarette tax regime that will see the price for a pack of 20 cigarettes increase from 58 naira to 80 naira, while shisha will be taxed at 3,000 naira per litre. The new tax regime was revealed by the Minister of State for Health, Olorunbe Mamora, Tuesday at the launch of the Tobacco Control Data Initiative dashboard in Abuja. It revealed that the new tobacco tax regime went into effect on the 1st of June.
Winning the war against tobacco use is a joint responsibility.
I want to declare the TCDI dashboard launched.
And finally, on Ministry News, the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Mr. Sunday Dare, during the week at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, hosted the players and officials of the victorious Under-17 Boys National Team, the Golden Eaglets, for winning the West African Football Union WAFU B Championship Cup held in Cape Coast, Ghana. The minister will admonish the team for making the country proud, commended the leadership of the NFF for making merit and competence its watchwords in selection of competent coaches for the age grade national teams, as agreed with the ministry, which is said has started to bear fruits with excellent performances at under 20 and under 17 levels recently.
The presidency is the only apex decision-making office that pilots the critical task of governance. What's the latest from the office of Mr. President?
President Muhammadu Buhari has cautioned Nigerians overseas against the use of social media to insult and incite from a safe and anonymous distance, urging the diaspora to always promote Nigeria's unity. The president gave the warning while speaking at a meeting with representatives of Nigerians living in Portugal on Wednesday night. According to a statement on Thursday by spokesman Garuba Shehu, on the forthcoming election, the president gave assurances of a free, peaceful, transparent, and credible elections in 2023.
All eyes are now on the 2023 elections in Nigeria. Our administration will do its best to ensure that the Independent National Electoral Commission delivers peaceful, transparent, free, fair, and credible election next year.
President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday night in Lisbon, Portugal, met with a selected number of Nigerians living in Lisbon, Portugal. The president used the occasion to reiterate his administration to ensure that the Nigerian government will be ever ready to support her citizens in diaspora. President Muhammadu Buhari Thursday night in Lisbon, Portugal, thanked the Portuguese government for the deployment of weapons and training of military personnel in ensuring peace in the sub-region. This was disclosed in a statement signed on Friday by the president's senior special assistant on media and publicity, Garuba Shehu. President Muhammadu Buhari further commended President Marcelo Rebelo de Souza for deploying troops for peacekeeping in the Central African Republic, monitoring political developments and providing assistance to some countries in Africa, including Equatorial Guinea, Cape Verde, and Mozambique, adding that this would not have been successful without her regional as well as global partners. The president expressed optimism that his state visit would further strengthen the goodwill and collaboration between the two countries. During his 3-day visit to Portugal, President Muhammadu Buhari Thursday in Lisbon said Nigeria and European countries signed at least 10 agreements and memoranda of understanding along areas such as travel, diplomacy, training, sports, culture, and digital economy. The president, who made the disclosure at a joint press conference with President Marcelo Rebelo de Souza of Portugal, stated that the agreements will strengthen ties between both countries for the 6 years after the establishment of diplomatic relations. And finally, from the presidency, the Senate on Wednesday confirmed the appointment of ministerial nominees sent to aid by President Muhammadu Buhari last week. The nominees are Henry Ikechukwu Ako, Abia State; Umana Okon Umana, Akwa Ibom State; Ekuman Kama Joseph Nkama, Ebonyi State; and Goodluck Nana Opia, Imo State. Others are Umaru Ibrahim El Yakub, Kano State; Ademola Adewole Adegoroye, Ondo State; and Odum Odi, Rivers State. The 7 nominees are expected to replace the federal ministers who resigned their appointments to participate in the APC presidential primary recently.
You're still watching the Ministries platform. Let's now bring you a special package from the Ministry of Defense.
The Minister of Defense, Major General Bashiru Salihi Magashi, retired, has demonstrated the commitment of the ministry to the provision of globally acceptable standard in medical infrastructure as well as in health care delivery to serving and retired officers and personnel of the armed forces. A proof to that commitment is the avowed health care delivery agenda under President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, which was undoubtedly manifested during the visit to the Armed Forces Specialist Hospital in Kano. The visit was to inspect the state of the medical facilities, to gather first-hand information, and to have on-the-spot assessment of the current status of the hospital with a view to identifying areas requiring immediate, short and long-time planning towards repositioning the facility. The minister was received and conducted around the hospital by the acting chief medical director, Colonel Daniel Chukwunoye Uku. General Magashi, who was accompanied on the visit by the Special Advisor Technical, Major General Ahmed Tijani Jibrin, retired, and Special Assistant Special Duty Ibrahim Jibril Wudil, had interactive moments with some patients in admittance. The inspection of the facility afforded the minister an opportunity to identify options as workable solutions to optimize their functionalities for the benefit of the patients. The 3 actionable templates going forward, according to the minister, were the categorization of medical equipment that are serviceable, replaced or upgraded within a clearly defined timeline. Indeed, the visit of the Minister of Defense expectedly rekindled a new vista of hope for the better years ahead by the management, staff and patients of the Nigerian Armed Forces Specialist Hospital Kano. The Armed Forces Specialist Hospital Kano, which was established in 1999, is 100-bedded with 162 staff strength drawn from the public and private partnership. In another development, The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Dr. Ibrahim Abubakar Kana, MNI, has enjoined the management of the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, DICON, to maximize their operations by leveraging on entrepreneurship ability of the company and the readily available business opportunities within the sub-region. Dr. Kana gave the charge during an inspection tour of facilities at DICON and its subsidiaries in Kaduna. The Permanent Secretary, who is the Chairman, Governing Board of DICON, said the federal government is considering revitalizing the corporation towards revenue generation and an implied role for the regulation of the producers' defense items in Nigeria. According to the chairman, the Ministry of Defense will vie for the understanding of the National Assembly and other stakeholders for the possible amendment of the Act establishing the Defense Industry Corporation of Nigeria to function as a regulator similar to what the Rosoboron Export Corporation is doing in Russia. He said it is envisaged that the review of the act establishing DICON will pave way for a robust business enterprise in partnership with other stakeholders and as well cut costs in procurement of non-available requirement of the Nigerian military. He pointed out. Dr. Kana said in the meantime, the corporation is expected to look inward and upscale their operations with business partners, pointing out that the corporation should develop a friendly and prospective business plan for the growth and development of DICON. The tour covered DICON, Special Equipment Factory, Ballistic Helmet Production Unit, the Tailoring Unit, and DICON Clinic. In his remarks, the Director General of DICON, Major General M.G. Tafida, informed the chairman governing body that DICON is in transformation and the management is determined to deliver on the mandate of the corporation. The Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, DICON, was established in 1964 and is responsible for the production of defense ordnance materials intended for use by the armed forces and other security organizations while using the excess capacity to support the development of local industries.
On our ministry, agencies and parastatals in focus segment this week, we are beaming our searchlight on the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission, NERC.
The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, is an independent regulatory body with authority for the regulation of the electric power industry in Nigeria. NERC was formed in 2005 under the Obasanjo administration's economic reform agenda through the Electric Power Sector Reform Act 2005 for formation and review of the electricity tariffs, transparent policies regarding subsidies, promotion of policies that are efficient and environmentally friendly, as well as including forming and enforcing of standards in the creation and use of electricity in Nigeria. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission was instituted primarily to regulate the tariff of power generating companies owned or controlled by the government and any other generating company which has a license for power generation and transmission of energy and distribution of electricity. The NERC, which was inaugurated on the 30th of October 2007, has additional responsibilities which include setting up and administering a fund called Power Consumer Assistance Fund, which subsidized underprivileged power consumers in Nigeria. It also holds the mandate to regulate the rural systems and determine the contribution rates to be sent to the Rural Electrification Fund. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission is governed by a tenured board of commissioners headed by the chairman, CEO, Mr. Sanusi Garuba. The Board of Commission of NIRC issues orders on electricity decisions and issues final licenses to investors, operators. It also settles industrial disputes through its ADR mechanism in an open hearing. In view of the current power challenge in the country, the NIRC chairman has assured Nigerians of improved power supply from July following renewed efforts by industry stakeholders. Currently, the NIRC has facilitated a contractual agreement between the GENCOs, TCN and 11 DISCOs that will guarantee the generation, transmission and distribution of an average 5,000 megawatts of power daily to customers effective from July. On regulations, the Commission makes regulations prescribing all matters which are required or necessary to be prescribed for carrying out or giving effect to the Electric Power Sector Reform Act 2005. On licensing, Section 62 of the Electric Power Supply Reform Act 2005 provides that any person intending to engage in the business of electricity generation, transmission, system operation, distribution or trading shall be required to obtain an operator's license from the NIRC. The Commission has established a methodology for regulating electricity called the Multi-Year Order (MYTO). The MYTO provides a 15-year tariff part for the Nigerian electricity industry with limited minor reviews each year. And finally, the Commission is charged with the responsibility of seeing to the establishment, promotion and monitoring of a competitive Nigerian electricity market where the private sector will be the key driver with no single or multiple group of players exercising undue market power.
The fact that there are no strict laws that governs or guides tenants.
For like 2 years now, and I have not seen one person ask me to pay 1 year.
Yeah, I like this city because of the job opportunities.
You see, the police system, if you look at it very well, we don't have a very good police system. If we should go by state policing, well, fine and good, but will it stop these insurgents? It won't. Because it then means that you are giving some states power. Like for instance, Lagos State, they have what it takes. What about other smaller states? Can they be able to fund it? Give them what it takes for them to mind the security challenges in their states? It won't work. Because why it won't work is that this is a federal issue. It has to do with the chief security officer, that is the president himself, who's supposed to mind the so-called policing. So that the policing will be effective by providing them all necessary things it takes. It's even going to create more criminality. Because look at it this way, your brother knows you. They will go on rural policing. In Owerri, that's what they do in Owerri. Because of land issue, they fabricate stories against you. Because they know the man in charge and the man will get you arrested. Then what is the essence of state policing? Is it the same people who are there are the people who are still the policing? But whereby they say, okay, fine and good, interstate. I will understand it that way. Whereby you bring the people from the east, take them to the north. From the people from the north, take them to the east. You find out at that time you see policing is going to work effectively.
It will create more jobs, and I think more importantly, we need to get people with the right mindsets coming into the state police force. A lot of people look at the Nigerian police and one word comes to mind: corruption, decadence, irresponsibility. However, it's really not the case. There are actually some policemen who are very good at their jobs and who actually maintain the ethics and ethos that being in the Nigerian police force. One thing about crime is, for every crime that's been committed, if you're able to actually catch a felon or catch a criminal, chances are there are more people who will actually want to perpetrate. So I think it would clamp down on it to a considerable extent, and that's a step in the right direction.
The state police, they were able to know the nooks and crannies of where they are. The state, maybe some of them, they will say, okay, be stationed in Ikeja. They know everywhere in Alimosho, so they'll be able to face their jurisdiction and do the work properly than, you know, deploying people from another state that don't know where they want to come. They just got here and they post them wherever, and they now start all over and begin to do social things. It will help terrorism and it will help banditry in everywhere, whether in Lagos or outside Lagos.
Such people can only work in an environment where there's unity, there's cooperation, and among the citizens. As it is now, even with the one we have right now, we are not satisfied with the service. If my person is the head of the police in my local government, then he wants my people to be employed more. They only help people who are from their constituencies and who are people that, let's say, vote for them. You know, they're going to be favorable to those people and leave other people behind. So that's going to bring more policing to the people. Because sometimes when even look at now the vigilante, they more or less like local government policing, and even them too are also corrupt.
If it's going to improve the security situation of the country, yes, we need it. One of the advantages is that at present, the federal police is controlled from the headquarters, Abuja. If we have a state police, the state governor, which is closer to the people, will be able to have a direct contact with them. So it will improve the security within that state. Before the federal police will get its order from the headquarters in Abuja, a lot of things would have gone wrong. But if we have a state police where it's responsible within that locality, they will be able to respond to any challenges if they are to follow the laid down structure and laws governing them. No governor will be able to, influence for himself that police, that state police.
It is our ultimate goal on the Ministers platform to shape public perception and opinion positively about governance at the ministerial level. So don't fail to keep a date with us next week. Thanks for watching.